Morning, everyone, and welcome. So good to have all of you here. It's a beautiful day in Hawaii, and I hope that your day is also spectacular. I know for some of you, it's midday, evening, and maybe the middle of the night. So I appreciate your time, your commitment, and your questions. There have been so many great questions. For those of you who are new to the space, you are welcome to check out my website. It's janwakefield.com. Also, check out my YouTube channel. When you go to the website, you'll find the link for the YouTube channel. All of my public recordings are available there and they are free. All you have to do is subscribe and like the video if you enjoy the content. There will be 2 or 3 additional videos going up this week, interesting content you might want to check out. And I encourage each of you to watch the testimonial that I re-recorded. For those of you who saw my original testimonial, I added in the information about the blue healers. So my original testimonial, I left that out thinking that maybe it was not appropriate or that people wouldn't want to listen to it. In addition, I will be posting recordings of behind the scenes, kind of. So there are a lot of things that happen when I am channeling, and I'm going to start recording what it's like for me behind the scenes. I think that it's really useful to a lot of people. Some of the public channelings, I do a follow-up before we all get off the call. I will sometimes talk through some of the things that I experience on my end. It's becoming more common for me to channel beings other than the blue healers. For those of you who have been with me since the beginning, you'll remember the violet beings, the 12th dimensional beings, the Pleiadians, Arcturians, Andromedans. They all come very frequently. There's a reptilian group that comes a lot, some insectoid type groups. And recently, there's another group that came that just called themselves the 15. And I channeled them originally because somebody asked a question about Jesus. So this is the Starseed origin information for that individual who existed a number of years ago. So if you would like for me to channel a specific group, you're welcome to ask me to do that in the question space. Just put in there, can you help me with my Starseed group, and identify them if you know their names or where they're from, what color they are, what dimension they come from. And we'll do our best here to communicate to you or on your behalf. If you have a lot of questions, I always recommend a private session. That's the way you can get through a lot of questions at one time. It's one question per person in this space. And if you have a lot of questions, it could take a while to get to all of your questions. And that's all I have for today. I'm going to go ahead and peek in the chat. Just know too, in the chat is the disclaimer. And if you're staying in the space, then you're choosing to agree to the disclaimer. Um, all right, Laura's asking about her Starseed group. So, Christelle, if you could add that to the question sheet, if we can get to it today. Otherwise, we'll come back to it later.
Will do.
Thank you. And the Telegram channel, that's an interesting thing. So yes, I'm happy to add you to the Telegram channel. Send me a private message either in the chat space or to Christelle in the chat space. And basically the easiest way to get you in there, I can add you, anyone in the group can add you, but you do have to have the Telegram app. The easiest way is for you to give me your phone number. If you're comfortable with doing that, I add you in my contacts and then I add you directly into Telegram that way. So if you don't want to share your phone number with a bunch of people, it's okay to just go ahead and put it into a private chat space. You can also reach out to me directly. My Telegram handle is Jan Wakefield, so it should be easy to find me if you're already on Telegram. Just reach out to me that way. I have a public setting on my personal Telegram space. I'm also in WhatsApp. You can reach me there, and my phone number is on the website, so just text me and I'll get you in there. Make sure you give me your name too when you do that, because a lot of times people will text and say, can you add me to the Telegram group? But I don't know who you are. So make sure you give me your name as well. Okay, just checking chat space. Yeah, starseed information is very interesting. All right. I think we're good in the chat space. I'm going to close that down. And let's get started. Go ahead and close your eyes. As I was originally directed by the Blue Healers, it's a great idea to begin every session with the baseline. See where you are today. So, what that means is to close your eyes and to scan your body from the head down. And see if there are any areas in your body of tension. Maybe you have muscles that are a little more tense today, areas of your body that maybe you're talking to a little bit. And if that's the case, just notice and with the in breath, allow yourself to create a little space with your breath. So, breathing space into areas of tension or discomfort. And as you're scanning the body, also notice if there are any feelings involved. Are you feeling anxious or angry? Maybe there was a situation at work that was frustrating for you. Just simply notice. And maybe when your anxiety or anger or fear, something is triggered, maybe you curl up your toes. And this is a good time to just notice. And in that noticing, breathe space into those areas of the body. And for some of you, maybe your posture needs a little bit of softness to it. Allow the spine to relax and sink into a seated position or standing or even lying down. And now that you're familiar with what's going on in the physical body and your feelings, let's take a look at thoughts. What are we thinking today? Do you have thoughts from the morning or the hours prior to this experience that are still going in your mind? Are you thinking about a deadline you have? Maybe it's work or family, relationships. Maybe you're anticipating something fun that's coming up. Just notice and breathe into it, allowing your body to create space, your mind to create space. And it's okay to question your thoughts. It's okay to examine your thoughts and say, maybe that's not real, or maybe that's not true. And that's part of creating space in your thought field and continuing the breath. The violet beings have arrived in the space with the blue healers. We would like for you to begin with the heart breath, where you focus your energy on the eighth energy center and breathe in through 6 and 5 to 4. Release the energy and your breath front to back and up to 8. And breathe in through 6 and 5 to 4. Release front to back and up to 8. And in through 6 and 5 to 3. Release front to back and up to 8. In through 6 and 5 to 2. Release front to back and up to 8. In through 6 and 5 to 1. Release front to back and up to 8. Breathe in through 6 and 5 to 4, 3, 2, and 1 at once. Release front to back and up to 8. Breathe in through 6 and 5 to 5. Release front to back and up to 8. Breathe in through 6 and 5 to 6. Release front to back and up to 8. Breathe in through 6 and 5 to 6 and 5. Release front to back and up to 8. Breathe in through 6 and 5 to 6, 5, and 4 at the same time. Release front to back and up to 8. Breathe in through 6 and 5 to 6. Release front to back and up to 8. Breathe in from 8 to 1 in a spiral. And release 1 to 8 in a spiral. Breathe in from 8 to 1 in a spiral. Release 1 to 8. Breathe in 8 to 1 in a spiral. Release 1 to 8. Breathe in 8 to 1 in a spiral. Release 1 to 8. Breathe in 8 to 1 in a spiral. And release 1 to 8. Breathe in 8 to 1 in a spiral. And release 1 to 8. And resume your natural breathing. Notice in your body the space you have created with your breath. Prior to taking the first question, we have some information for you. This information comes from the source energy of all things. And that is integration is happening. Integration is happening for all of you on a grand scale. And this integration is going to change your perception of the world, meaning your worldview. And in this perceptual shift, you will begin to question everything you believe you know everything you believe about yourself and everything you believe about others, everything you believe about resources, about relationships, about the experience of things that you felt were so very important in your life. This information is a download and a transmission. It is an activation of information within you. And this channel's direction in her work is toward activation, toward downloading transmissions from not only starseed information, but just information from Source itself. You are learning to connect on your own to this Source energy. And this Source energy is that which compels you to be here in the first place. Those of you who have elected to be in this space are here specifically for the transmissions. You understand the transmission process, and you understand that transmissions are pure energy, energy of love and connection. And you know the important nature of it for you in your transformation, your soul's transformation, your 3D transformation. And those who are not in the space today have a little bit of time yet before they reach the place where direct transmission is even possible. So we, the blue healers, want you to know that encoded in every answer that we give you is this direct source transmission. And you can choose to get hung up on the words. You can choose to make your questions more challenging for yourselves by allowing a question to produce more questions. Instead, listen again and again to the answers. Do the breath as we direct it. In the answer is the transmission. It is not about the words. For words on your planet are going to become less important. Perhaps each of you in this space are already finding that the ability to talk or to communicate is diminishing slowly, that you will be in spaces where people are talking and you find it challenging to even come up with a response. And then in the end, you say to yourself, I really have nothing to say to that. This is because the need for auditory transmission is decreasing on your planet very rapidly. And for those of you who feel that you are maybe not communicating, meaning that you are not using your words, instead you are emitting a transmission of the sensation and feeling of what you wish to communicate. And that is enough. Simply allow yourself to remain in the silence without needing to form words around what you wish to say. Your world has become entirely dependent on written and verbal communication. The literacy is such an important part of who you believe you are. Humans are not that. Language is simply an emergence of culture, an emergence of habits and patterns, and needing to communicate with words is diminishing because for some of you, and it is only a few at this time, the few in this space, the few around the globe who can relate to this translation, this transmission, are losing the ability or the necessity to speak in words. So allow yourself to be calm and quiet, to observe the communications as they come in, to recognize that your media may become a little less interesting, that you will be very selective about what you allow in terms of verbal or written communication to come into your awareness. These communications are creating interference now within you, and this interference prevents you from having extra dimensional communication. This interference of the written and verbal communication of letters and words is creating tension within the body that forms in symptoms that will be situations within the body for you to manage on the 3D level. Too much information from 3D sources, from your media sources, can actually produce the opposite effect. It is not time for you. It is now time for you to open yourself up to become the channel. Dumping too much information from media sources, from written or verbal or electronic sources, can actually create more interference than clarity. And this interference will drive you into your thought processes. When you are driven as humans into your thought processes, you are then driving yourself away from connection within the coherent field of your being. Instead, opt for silence. Opt for allowing yourself to relax into who you are and to directly transmitting information from extra dimensional sources, from extraterrestrial sources, from within your own source body. Too much information from media sources actually can create the opposite effect in the physical 3D world. In other words, too much from media sources can actually create more gravity within the cells. This will happen on an unconscious level. It will create symptoms for you within your body, for which you will have to deal with it, for which you will have to become silent, for which you will have to learn again to release yourself from the addiction to media sources. And in doing so, in healing the body from symptoms created, from the gravity created from too much from the chemicals produced from too much media input, too much written or verbal communications of the wrong kind, of the oppressive or painful kind, could be the very reason that you sit in the space seeking healing. You think that in order to allow silence, you will miss something. And instead, you will find that in the silence, the communication is profound, profound in a way that is much greater than the constant media download dump you are giving to your brain. And know that this media information, this written and verbal communication, incessant written and verbal communication, is only a distraction from what you truly want, which is love and connection, which is coherence. This direct source transmission is complete, and we are ready for your first question.
The first question is from Sergey. I'd like to ask about special places on Earth, such as pyramids and other places. When traveling to them, how we can connect with them and bring the experience of it to us, and what is the overall meaning of these special places for us. With love.
This is a wonderful question, and we transmitted information to a single individual yesterday regarding this very question. Just as the human body has energy centers, and there are primary ones within the human that you describe as 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And of course, the addition of 9 and 0 per our direction. These main energy centers are a little like portals. They are gateways, and they each have their own personality, except 9 and 0, which are your direct connection to the quantum field. And that channel from 9 to 0 goes through the human body, down through the spine, in the area of nothing that already exists. These portals, 8 through 1, are very potent for you if you all can learn how to use them properly. Many of you are on the right track with your learning. Just know that there is more to it. And also included in the human body are many tiny vortexes. These are seen in your Chinese medicine practitioner guidelines, where these tiny energy centers, these tiny vortexes of energy, are part of the meridian system, which is directly connected into your 8 basic energy centers or primary energy centers, which then all of them are connected into the quantum field. You have, through these energy centers, these vortexes in your body, these portals in your body, direct communication to quite literally everything in the universe. Humans are designed to communicate with everything in the universe. Humans are what you describe as channels. However, many humans, the majority, have yet to access this ability. The reason we are describing in depth the human body and the human communication process is because you are a tiny version of the Earth itself. Major areas on your planet, such as your pyramids and other places of notable significance, where many people gather for the, the portal energy on the planet. These areas are like primary energy centers on the human body. These are portals, and these portals have great significance. They are both gateways for physicality or travel. They also are portals for information that comes from the galaxy to the Earth. Your Earth, then, is an organism, if you think about it that way, and her energy centers, her portals are energy centers, but also throughout the planet are many vortexes as well. These vortexes are like the tiny openings in the meridians of the human body. So there are meridians on the Earth. And for humans, you have a tendency to believe in a linear concept of all of this information, that there is a straight line from 9 to 0. from 8 to 7 to 6 to 5 to 4 to 3 to 2 and to 1, that it is somehow linear, meaning it is a line that is concrete. Instead, imagine that it is multidimensional as well, and that your meridian system is much greater than just the human body. The same is true of the Earth itself. Her meridian system is multidimensional. And while there are ley lines on your planet, and there are sciences that study Earth geological and weather patterning, all of these things are connected. The greater portals on your planet, such as the pyramids, may be entirely inaccessible to even people with the greatest amount of interdimensional connection. So, for those of you sitting in this space with the ability to tap into coherence, a state of coherence, even those of you in this space may travel to the portals or major energy centers around the planet, and you will not feel connected. You may feel actually a sense of a revulsion. You may feel repulsed. You may find that the energies of these locations are very odd to you, and it is perfectly okay. It is not necessary for you to try to force connection in the area of a portal, in the area of a vortex. You may find that the interference of it actually creates a lot of dissonance in your human body, in your psyche, in your mind. And it is not for you to push yourself, to make attempts to push yourself to connect into these portals, to connect into these vortexes. Instead, it is better for you to tap into your own body, tap into your own mind, your own energy system, and to find these vortexes throughout the planet, to find these portals throughout the planet for which you actually do have connection. So, in other words, there is nothing wrong with the portal. There is nothing wrong with the vortexes. It is, however, for you to understand that if you were to imagine yourself to step into one of your energy systems called a tornado, a hurricane, a typhoon, where all the energies are in a colossal form of expression, you may find that if you were to step into a tornado, it would feel a little overwhelming. The same is true for you being nearby portals, for you being nearby vortexes. This tornado of energy may produce within you sensations of discord, and that is okay. Maybe for you, you do not need to be anywhere near a portal. Maybe you do not need to be anywhere near a vortex. You can simply be where you are and tap and sense into that energy from a distance, because there really is no such thing as time and space. However, when you are in the midst of a portal and its spiral, a vortex and its spiral, and you feel disconnected or overwhelmed or confused or dizzy or strange within you, it is simply because when you are closer to the center of that weather pattern, that energy pattern, it disrupts the sensitivities within you. So now there is something for you to consider. Where in the world do you find the most connection? Where is it that in your mind's eye and in your meditation, you call up the energy of a portal, of a vortex, and suddenly you discover that what you sense within you is something like this image? You see it as the bud of a flower, and that it is spinning with softness, gentleness, with warmth, and with light. And it is in a constant motion, of the bud of a flower, slowly turning and opening and expanding into full bloom. And then slowly, as it continues to spin, the petals begin to close in on itself again. It is like a gently moving movie of a beautiful flower that is constantly expanding and contracting within the spiral of the vortex, the spiral of the portal. And perhaps this flower is crystalline in its nature. Perhaps you perceive it as being geometric patterning. Perhaps you see it as the spiral of fractal geometry. This is when you know you are connected to the correct portal, connected to the correct vortex. These are your places. And keep in mind that you may find that the areas where you do not feel connected, it is okay for you to simply not go there. And if you choose to go there, perceive what is going on in your body. Perceive what is going on in your own system of portals and vortexes that you call energy centers. And this concludes the answer to that question. Your next question, please.
The next question is from me now. The question is, my 18-year-old son has high-functioning autism and is stuck in his sticky thoughts, which is causing a lot of issues. He's continuously finding reasons to be guilty, and it has become an endless game. I've been practicing on him with energy healing modalities, but I have not seen any change, and I have no clue how to help him get unstuck from his guilt.
This child is reliving information from the lineage. This child has elected to be born for the sake of transmuting energies from the DNA lineages from which he was born. The most obvious recommendation here is to attempt to speak without words. It seems to be the theme of this session. Attempt to speak to him without words, meaning use your meditation time to send love and connection without words. Repeat again and again in your meditations. I love you. I am here for you. Perhaps you will want to use the Ho'oponopono prayer in your meditation with the sole focus on your son. In some ways, he has his own agenda in this lifetime, and he will need to move through that agenda. And there will be very little you can do for that. Know, however, that the prayer we have recommended will create and ease your suffering as well as his. And know that within a few years' time, this whole situation, within a few months to a few years, this whole situation will dissolve and it will be as if it never happened. Creating anxiety or fear around the situation within you is unhelpful. And so you will need to refine your practice. Refine your practice so that you are a beacon of love and connection, that you are a beacon of trust in knowing that whatever it is he is going through will pass. You need to believe that with 100% conviction, with no doubts. And if a doubt arises within you, you need to take a moment to take a breath and say, I love and connect with myself. And therefore, this doubt can become a trust in and faith in knowing that all things come to a sense of love and connection if I remain in that space. The only other addition we have to offer you is that if this child has a love for animals, and you may need to introduce this child to various animals, lean into that as a form of connection for him. Perhaps it is an unusual animal as well, and a physical experience of being with that animal could be quite useful in moving the energies more quickly. Remember, for all of you, fear is not a friend. It is information. It is information directing you back to your heart. We are complete with the answer to this question. The next, please.
The next question is from Ursula. Dear healers, at a young age, I was taught that we should say a short prayer every night before sleeping. Is this important? If so, why? I'm interested in your thoughts on this.
What a lovely practice. Prayer is a form of meditation if it is done in an open hearted space. And so you have a body of practice already. Use that time and space to connect to your heart, to connect to the beauty of who you are in this moment. We also understand that many of your religions have very funky applications. This means that the idea behind some of the practices come from a place of pure-hearted connection to the divine, to the divine within you, meaning to your heart, to love, and to a state of coherence. If ever you find that prayer creates fear for you, or guilt for you, or a sense of disconnect for you, that is not prayer. That is something vastly different. And we would encourage you to try one of two things: eliminate prayer as it exists in that form, or to simply adjust what prayer is for you. Allow yourself a greater and deeper belief in yourself and in the love within you, within love and connection, within the beauty and the expansive nature of all things in love. Your next question.
The next question is from Rashin. Dear Pleiadians, can you please tell us more about the breath where the intention of abundance is released through the fifth center? When the body has dissolved through the spiral breath, should we think of what we want and imagine it going out from the fifth? Is it enough thinking of it one time during one breath session, or should it be done several times during one session?
This is an excellent question, and we are truly grateful for the question about the breath practice. For you, all of you, a recommended breath practice would be the heart breath. To begin there, breathe in through 6 and 5 to 4, releasing front to back and up to 8. And you do that in this pattern. We will speak it, not practice it in the moment. In through 6 and 5 to 4, release to 8, and then to 3, and then to 2, and then to 1, and then to 4, 3, 2, and 1 at once, and then to 5, and then to 6, and then to 6 and 5 at once, and then to 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 at once. And then do it again. Breathe in through 6 and 5 to 4, to 3, to 2, to 1, to 4, 3, 2, and 1 at once, to 5, to 6, to 6 and 5 at the same time. Repeat it a third time. 6 and 5 to 4, then 3, then 2, and then 1, and then 4, 3, 2, and 1 at once, and then 5, and then 6. And when you complete the third round, the energy will be in the 8th energy center with the top of the exhale. And then you breathe in from 8 to 1 in a spiral, and then 8 to 2, 8 to 3, 8 to 4, 8 to 5, 8 to 6, 8 to 7, and then repeat 8 to 1, 2, and then 3, and then 4, 5, 6, and 7. Do it a third time. 8 to 1, to 2, to 3, to 4, to 5, to 6, to 7. And then, after the third round, breathe in 8 to 1, and then release 1 to 9, and then breathe 9 to 0, and then 0 to 9, and continue that breath in a spiral. 9 to 0 through the quantum tunnel in your spine. 0 to 9. And you will find that once you do these cycles in a row, when you do 9 to 0 and 0 to 9, your body will feel the sensation of dissolving into the quantum field. Once you are in this space, you may naturally find your body tipping the chin up and finding the 5th energy center opening like a chasm into the universe. This is when and only when you wish to throw out an intention. It could be and should be extremely simple. It could be one word, love. It could be connection. It could be abundance. It could be wellness. And let it go. Let that one word go. It could be an image. It could be a symbol. But it is only when you feel the sensation of your body dissolving into the quantum field that you should release this intention into the quantum field. Then just continue to breathe. 9 to 0, 0 to 9. And you may find that you dissolve your thoughts so completely that it becomes impossible to connect to the words of 9 and 0. Just allow your body to continue to breathe until you feel the energy shift and change, till you start feeling your body again. You may find it's a few minutes. Maybe it will be a half an hour. Maybe you'll need to set an alarm so that you don't continue the process through engagements that are required of you in 3D. This is the breath practice that we believe you are referring to. And when you are in this place, the moment your thoughts get involved, focus again on breathing in a spiral from 9 to 0, 0 to 9, 9 to 0, 0 to 9. Keep in mind that your thoughts will be most potent at this time in terms of manifestation. If you are thinking something you do not want, our recommendation would be to go back to the spiral from 8 to 1, 1 to 8, Allow yourself time to clear the 3D energy pattern of your thought, just in the 3D 8 to 1 and 1 to 8. And then when you are ready, go back to the 9 to 0. This breath sequencing is most important for manifestation. It is the manifestation sequencing breath, and it is extremely powerful and potent if you do it in the correct order. If you remember that you cannot allow your mind to think in the negative when you are in the quantum field, you will simply manifest that more quickly. So, to break it down one step further, the heart breath is where you begin to activate your portals, your energy centers of 8 through 1. It is where you connect the energy centers to one another. It is also the space in which you begin to create coherence within the whole body. And it is, of course, if you remember from our previous explanation, you are drawing in information from the eighth energy center. You are tempering it with the sixth and the fifth. The glands in the sixth and the fifth temper the information from the eighth energy center so that you are pulling in the pure energy that you require for your own vibrational pattern and sequencing of who you have become with your two-strand DNA. When you then pull that energy through 6 and 5 down to 4, the heart becomes involved. So now you are connecting 6, 5, and 4. When you expand the energy center wide at 4, you release front to back and up to 8, you are informing your energy field of your body. Heart is the beginning point, and eventually all the energy centers are eliminated. Once you have done 3 cycles of the heart breath, as we have described, you move to the spiral breath. The spiral breath from 8 to 1 is literally an energy tornado. It is now drawing in information that you no longer wish to or need to have within your cells. This is the healing process. This is the release and clearing process for the entire body. As you release back up to 8, the information disseminates throughout the earth realm, meaning the earth itself becomes involved. And she helps to transmute any negative energies to positive energies. This is seen in polarity, in magnetics, in also the entire system of positive and negative within the electrons of the human world. And so when you complete the spiral breath from 8 to 1, and you are ready to expand from 1 to 9 and 9 to 0, and you dissolve into the quantum field, much less of your human experience then will be informing the quantum field of your desires. Much less of your 2 DNA strand will inform the quantum field of the next stage of your evolution. And the activation in these sessions, the activation of the 12-strand DNA and beyond, will then be part of the information that goes into the quantum field that draws within you mystical experiences or experiences in 3D that allow you to connect more readily to 5D. This is where you also draw in information that activates the information within your multidimensional strand DNA that allows you to release yourself from the 3D form altogether so that you have an opportunity at the end of one of your lifetimes to opt out of the 3D experience, to have a new one in another dimension, another timeline, another space continuum, whatever you wish to call it. And so this transmission is complete, and all we have to say for today about the breath practice. In addition, the Pleiadians have one more message, and they say this: many of you are learning to break free from the Earth experience. Keep in mind that you have choice to return to the Earth experience or to select another experience throughout the universe. It is your practice in the 3D form that matters. It is your ability to repeatedly access the quantum field, allowing the 3D body to dissolve while still being a 3D body. That your opportunity for choice, post your experience in this 3D form, the opportunity for choice will increase. And this is the simple version of the practice of the many great masters on your planet, both historically and currently. We will take your next question.
There is a clarification requested from the special transmission that you did earlier in the call. When you said media, did you mean all TV programming or primarily news broadcasts?
Anything that is in a video form, anything that is what you consider social media, anything that you consider an electronic transmission. It could be audio as well. This answer is complete.
We're at 2 minutes to the hour. Would you like another question?
Yes, please.
Okay, the next question is from Tatiana. As humans, we are evolving towards 5D and expanding our consciousness within what many describe as a holographic reality. How do you experience evolution in your realm? And is there any similar concept of holographic or illusory reality where you exist?
We very much appreciate this question, and it is the violet beings who would like to offer you an answer. They say that in the 3D world, what you describe as a holographic image may have two meanings. One is the illusory experience that all humans are having, meaning that the world around them is simply a projection of their own minds. And that is one way to look at it. The other is that when you begin to see the holographic images all around you, it means that you are breaking free of, stepping free of 3D reality and moving toward the fifth dimension. For dimensional beings who are outside of 3D reality, meaning not incarnated into or assuming physical form, These beings see all things in their own way, and there are dimensional differences. So the experience of 5D is different than 6 or 7 or 8 or 15 or however many you are able to perceive. This means that the violet people express that while they can assume a 3D form, they can release the need for the 3D form and exist in 5D and or 7D for some of them. There are perhaps what you would describe as rules for each dimension. And they believe that your question is, are there similarities between 3D and the other dimensions? Are there stages of evolution and development? And the answer is both yes and no. The answer yes means that for dimensional beings, there is the possibility of evolution out of the need for even an energetic form that can be perceived as a vibrational frequency. This means that just as the 12th dimensional beings and the 15th dimensional beings appear without form, they still appear as something. They appear as light or mist or dust or something that has not assumed a type of form that may be perceived as something existing on the human planet. In other words, instead of being human or animal of any kind, they may appear as a type of element, using human words to describe. And so it is possible for the fifth dimensional beings to evolve to a place where there is less form. However, the experience is far more elective rather than it is on the human planet, where evolution seems to take a painfully long time, and humans, animals, and everything on the planet seems to believe that there is not choice involved. And this completes the answer, the transmission for that question. And the Pleiadian beings ask us to thank you for your questions today. It is very helpful for them and their kind because it is returning information to them on a significant level for what you would describe as their own evolution. The violet people are receding from the space. They also express gratitude to you for your attempts to understand the many dimensions within you and all around you. The 15 and the 12th dimensional beings also recede from the space. We, the Blue Healers, would like to thank you for your time today. As always, we are accessible to you for direct transmission, and it is in your meditations. You may ask your questions. Remember, the answers come in the brief pause following the question. And we appreciate that you are continually attempting to refine your perceptual abilities, to receive our communications back to you. And now our transmission is complete, and we recede from the space. All right. I want to thank you all for being here. I am going to open the space for discussion if anyone wishes to discuss. Let me just give you the ability to unmute yourselves. And know that when you speak, your name will come up on the screen.
Hi, Jan.
Hi,
Really,
Minal.
thank you for taking my question. And uh, may I turn my video on? I just want to say thank you to you in person. That's it.
Yes, give me a moment to change the setting.
And it's okay if that is a hassle, don't worry about it. I can just still speak. Don't worry about it. So just
No,
thank you so much for
there you go.
taking that question and giving me the guidance. So
You're
thank you
welcome.
so much for taking that question and giving me the guidance. And I have been practicing for a while, so I'll try to do it without words in my meditations, and of course, Ho'oponopono. And I'm not sure about the animal that they said. He does talk about pandas, but I'm not sure whether that's the animal, and physical proximity, how is it possible? So, maybe I'll meditate on that and let's see if I get to know more about it.
Try horses,
Okay.
sheep, horses. I'm seeing something, four legs, barn.
Four legs in barn. Okay.
Yeah, you may maybe see if there's a barn somewhere that you could visit and,
Yeah, maybe.
no agenda, to see what
Yeah,
emerges.
yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks a bunch. It's amazing. Yeah. And even while you guide those meditations, I felt a lot of things in my throat. It's kind of opened up than before. So I don't know whether it is more about expressing my truth but we'll see.
Yeah. I bet there are a few other people in here who could thumbs up that throat activation. I certainly felt it too. Uh,
Wonderful. Yeah.
yeah.
So thanks a bunch again. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it. And I'll keep you posted.
I would love to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm muting myself and I'm turning the video off too.
Okay.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Would anyone else like to ask a question? Otherwise, I'm going to share a little bit about the behind the scenes information.
And just quickly, I think this is the first time, it's Ursula. This is the first time I've noticed that there are 15 dimensional, 15th dimensional beings. Do you have any thoughts on that? Maybe I didn't realize that there were 15 dimensions.
I think there probably just are as many as we can imagine. And the 15 came in a channeling session a couple of weeks ago when somebody actually asked about Jesus, and they kind of showed up in force, and they wouldn't describe themselves. So I went back in. So I asked them to leave, I guess, is the basics. Because I have rules about the channeling space, I have a lot of extra dimensional beings show up, and I want to make sure that I am honoring, my own comfort zone as well. But they came, and then I did a channeling session one-on-one with a volunteer, and they described themselves as being the 15. I have defined them as the 15th dimension. There weren't 15 of them. They do not come in a form. They can take a form, but they don't recommend that we describe it that way. They would like to just be like the 12. They would like to just be seen as elemental more, is how I would describe it. I don't know if that's accurate from where they're from, but I perceive it as elemental, more
Got
cloud-like substance. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured at that point they don't need all the other bells and whistles. Makes sense.
Yes, because they're more interested in the transmission than they are us trying to. I'm getting a lot of information. This could be the message for December. A lot of information about how we rely on our visual, auditory, sensory perceptions over the others. And this is why many people can't communicate with the extra dimensional beings, is that they're trying too hard to see and hear instead of just perceiving. And so if they take a form, then we get kind of hung up on the way they look. And it helps in some ways, and in other ways it does not help with the transmission or the information they're trying to give us. So I thought that was really interesting.
Got it. Thank you. Makes sense.
You're welcome. Would anyone else like to add in? Okay, so some behind the scenes. This time was a little bit different in the channeling space. Of course, we're all ever evolving, and I'm ever evolving in the channeling space. The blue healers are amazing in their ability to translate and speak for the other groups that come in. And normally I get a lot of my own visual experiences in the channeling space. I see things behind my mind's eye. I have images come in. They're very, very specific with what they're showing me. However, today, and I think it's due to the influence of the dimensional beings that are coming without form and allowing them to just not have form, is that I am seeing today, I saw, instead of like a movie or visual imagery within my field of vision with my eyes closed, it was pure white light. Like I was looking into an angelic realm, is what it felt like. Although I hate to even define it as that, but it is what I would describe. It wasn't like a light or a solid white wall. It actually was a sensory perception that was completely surrounding me. And when the extra dimensional beings came in or spoke individually, individual groups spoke. So the violet beings tend to be just to my right, and the Pleiadians often come in to my left. The blue healers are usually behind me. And today, though, the messages were coming as pure transmission without any visual at all. And so I knew who they were because I could identify the sensation of their vibrational patterning. And the violet people, of course, will always pop in and out of my visual capacity because they do exist in 3D and 5D. And they said today they have some 7D, and I would have to explore that more to be able to speak more to it. So I've heard them say that before, but of course my mind was like, well, what about 6? Don't leave 6 out. Anyway, human brain gets involved. But I did see that blank slate almost, but it wasn't three-dimensional. It was like I was existing and floating in space. And often for me, when I'm doing that breath practice, and that is it's wonderful that they gave you that breath practice in the sequence that clears the body of its patterns. And it's also would be good for clearing if people feel they've collected stuff or picked up things from other people. That sequencing of breath would be excellent for that, is what the transmission was. So this time, instead of having visuals of the breath itself, it was entirely sensory. So I know that I always have had the 3D experiences where or the multi-dimensional experiences. I hadn't realized until today how much I was also relying on trying to see some visual imagery behind my mind. I thought that it would be easier for you all if I gave explicit uh, descriptions of the beings and their messages, speaking in a lot of metaphor. Of course, if you look at my previous channelings, I speak in metaphor a lot. And today they were urging me to seek out words that were very precise in describing the portals and the energy centers throughout the planet. And one step further that they transmitted, but I may not have communicated directly to you, it's coming to me now, is the kind of the telescoping concept that we have in our world, that we can see in the small structure of something the same thing that would be in a big structure of something. So, for example, like the microcosm and the macrocosm, I guess is the thought. It's like we perceive things on the individual level, and then we look up and say, oh, wait, this is going on globally. And I see this by looking at the news, or a lot of people are talking about the same thing. And, we say it's Mercury retrograde, it's the moon, it's this, that, the other thing, it's the comet coming by. We're looking for ways to connect. And so, what they were basically describing with the energy centers of the body is that we are like tiny Earths, and that the Earth itself, we are a representation of it when it comes to the energy centers and the flow of energy through the body and around the body. If you think about it, when you look at images, artists will often put our energy field as being this orb that goes around us, a little bit like the shape of the earth. So I thought that was a very interesting comment for them to make today, and be very explicit about the energy centers of the body and how they are in a direct relationship with the energy centers of the earth, which would make sense why people go to Egypt or the Grand Canyon or Sedona or um, uh, wherever in the world where they believe there are these portals or vortexes, and they don't feel a good sense of connection, or they feel nauseated because the energy is maybe not in alignment in the moment, or just that it's overwhelming. I feel that way when I go to vortexes. I feel nauseated and dizzy, and I sometimes, I like to just see what it feels like, because I am curious about life and the world and myself. And but if people feel that way and they wonder, well, why is it that I can't connect into the portals at the pyramids? Well, maybe it's a little too close. It's like being too close to the sun or too close to fire. You're feeling it in a different kind of way, and let that be okay for yourself. So those were some interesting perceptions that I had this time. I hope that some of you or all of you will go back and listen to the recording, and to try to really understand and remember that breath practice. And I would like to actually just do it together. So I'll create a separate time on a Friday, likely at the same time, 7 a.m. Hawaii time, where we just all come together and do the breath practice. So if that interests you, why don't you give me a thumbs up if that would interest you, if you wanted to get together as a group and just do the breath as they released it today. Okay, yeah, there are a couple of you. Thank you for awesome. Yeah, that'd be great. And we'll see what comes of it, because I think we're evolving as a group as well. And I like to see that people are drawn to practicing together, because you're connecting to your heart, and that means you're connecting to everyone else as well. All right. Any other questions pop up in the last couple of minutes?
Yeah, Jan, it's Tim again.
Hi, Tim.
Hello. There's a lot to unpack, and as you know me, I am a man of words. I love words, and there's a certain irony in saying that we're communicating with thought, which I love. But there is an irony, the fact that we're receiving information through you with words, and I really
Yeah.
appreciate that. I mean, on an intellectual level, you hear your brain measuring what you're saying. One of the things I have struggled with is the apparent hierarchy that takes place in space. So when we're talking, even the breathing, I find difficult, because I'm picturing one in the base of the spine. I'm picturing the different parts of my body in the spiral. And I have to confess, I struggle with the breathing. I try to breathe where I'm dissolving everything into one sort of holistic space. So when the measurements come in any reference, I struggle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Um, Two things. First is the beings have a direct message for you that I'm supposed to give you one-on-one. So I wasn't surprised when you unmuted. So we'll connect off this call another time with
Okay.
that.
Okay.
The other, yeah, that happened at the very beginning. It was interesting. You popped into the space energetically. So yeah, that was really interesting. I was planning to reach out to you anyway. The
Oh,
other thing
thanks, Jan.
is, you're welcome. Yeah, some people do struggle with the breath at the beginning. What I would say is throw out an intention for what you're doing and then just go into your natural breathing pattern and allow your system to take over. So if it feels like a struggle, let it go for a minute and just breathe and relax and breathe space into wherever that tension is. So just like they do at the very beginning of every session, breathe in deeply to wherever the space is and probably likely your brain, your mind, because you're trying to get it right. Um, yeah, because there's really no wrong way to do it and you can't harm yourself. So you're safe in just breathing. Otherwise, we wouldn't have acquired the ability or it to be a requirement for us to be alive by breathing. So you're safe in the breathing process, and I imagine you're doing it right. You're just maybe concerned that you might mess it up somehow, and there's no way to do that. There's no wrong way. It's all good.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Mona, would you like? I see your hand is up. Would you like to unmute yourself if you haven't already?
Yeah, I guess well, first of all, thank you so much for hosting this call. Really appreciate it. It makes the biggest difference in the world. So thanks for taking the time and actually guiding us through it. My question is, what do you do when you feel disconnected? I don't know if you've ever felt like, some days you're just like super connected to the universe and you're just like flowing and kind of like not worrying about anything. And then the next day you're like, oh my God, you're like in panic attack as if like something just kind of like left your body or like not that something left your body, but like your perception just changes so quickly. And how do you bring yourself back to that like peaceful mind and like who you truly are inside?
Yeah, this is a great question. I think it happens to a lot of us, where we're in the flow and we're thinking, I finally achieved nirvana and it's going to be amazing and I'm going to stay here forever. And the next day you promptly walk into a door by accident, and bang your nose. So yeah, it happens in the human experience where we feel this sense of love and connection and we're deeply in it. And the next day you wake up and you're like, oh, I have a sore throat. Why am I sick? I've been doing all the right things. I don't understand. And lately, in my experience, what I've been doing is having a little conversation with that part of myself. It's like, oh, I just walked into the door and now I have a bump on my head and I was in flow yesterday and today I feel really discombobulated, like I'm not there anymore. Um, and create whimsy around it is what I always say to myself. I say this to my kids, just create whimsy around it. It's like, this is kind of funny that yesterday I felt like I was on top of the world and today I'm tripping over my own feet. And I'm in traffic and I never find a parking space. And it seems like the 3D is conspiring against me today. And then the next day it passes. There are energetic patterns that are going worldwide and within states, within cities, within family systems. And I think the more we try to give meaning to it, the farther away we are from the heart. It's when we're allowed to just look at it or we allow ourselves to look at it and recognize it for what it is. I stubbed my toe and just ruined my pedicure. Seriously, 3D thoughts that don't even matter. But you acknowledge it and just say it out loud or say it to yourself like, I feel totally off today. And then you can just go into your heart and say, okay, well, today's an off day. This is just like yesterday, I was on top of the world. That lasted yesterday. Today, I feel like I'm slightly off. Well, this will only last a period of time too. That it's like the breath, it comes and it goes. I think it's when we try to make meaning out of it and we beat ourselves up and we're looking for excuses to make it or just trying to run from it. I've done a lot of that too. It's like, I just need to meditate more. I have 5 more hours of meditation, or I'll listen to a podcast, or I'll Binge watch Netflix and hope this will all go away. Whatever our coping mechanisms are, sometimes drag it out longer than if we just stop and say, I feel really off today. I feel really dizzy today. I don't feel well today. I often find even when I'm not feeling well, if I just acknowledge it and say, oh, I don't feel so good today. I feel a little off today. My stomach kind of hurts today, whatever the thing is, that I pass through it more quickly. So I hope that's helpful. That's my very 3D expression of it. It's like just
No, this is
be
very
kind,
helpful.
yeah, be kind and loving to yourself and try to laugh at it. Be like, whoa, I am just walking into walls today. Maybe it's not a good day for me to be in my car. Good excuse to cancel everything.
Thanks, Jen.
Yeah. Yeah. Love yourself through it. All right. That was a great question. Thank you. All right. Well, thanks again, all of you, for being here. I am off for the rest of the day, and I'm sending you all just tons and tons of love, or aloha, as we like to say in Hawaii. Sending you lots of love. And we'll see you again on Tuesday, if not Friday, for a little breath practice. So check out the chat in Telegram. Maybe surprised.